Throughout the original Star Wars trilogy, we never see Darth Vader more angry and fired up than in the very first scene we're introduced to him. And is Rogue One gonna show us why he was so angry? As excited as I am to see the story of Rogue One unfold, I'm equally as excited to see how it all ends. We obviously know where this story is going to transition to within the whole overarching storyline of the Star Wars universe, but I'm eager to see how they're going to wrap up the individual storylines and character arcs of all these characters that are going to be specific just to Rogue One. Not only that, but this is also a little bit of an interesting opportunity that Rogue One has to potentially give a little bit more depth and meaning to things happening within the events of Episode 4, to where a movie that's almost 40 years old could suddenly have little bits within it that can mean a little bit more based on what they show us and tell us with the events of Rogue One. I'm fully anticipating some pretty intense shit for the final act of Rogue One, and these are three things in particular that I want to see happen as they wrap it all up. Number one is I want to see Leia's ship from the start of A New Hope flying away with the Death Star plans. Maybe with the crew from Rogue One being pursued by Vader, they make the handoff and in their last stand are able to let the ship escape. I know it's really similar to the ending of the campaign mode on Halo Reach, if you've ever played that, but it just makes so much sense for that handoff to go directly from this movie to what we know eventually happens with that ship and with these Death Star plans. And maybe even as that ship is finally taking off, we get one last shot of the Rogue One crew, or what's left of them, watching the ship fly away, knowing that they had fulfilled their mission, they've done what they were asked to do, and now once again the Rebel Alliance has hope because of them. Number two is I want to see why Darth Vader is so pissed. This goes back to what I mentioned in the opening of this video, but the beginning of A New Hope, in the first scene where we're introduced to Darth Vader, is the only time we ever see him raise his voice. He's picking guys up off the ground by their necks, throwing them against walls, and he is visibly more pissed than we see him at any other point in the original trilogy. We can kind of assume that director Orson Krennic is failing at his job, right? Because it would make sense that Vader would be super pissed about having to go and clean up everybody else's shit. However they do end up going about it, I want to see a little bit more of a pissed off Vader and sort of set the table for why he was as mad as he was at the beginning of A New Hope. My third thing that I want to see, it sounds a little bit morbid, but I want more than one dead protagonist. We've seen protagonists die before in Star Wars movies. We've never seen multiples go down at once. But what better an opportunity to further illustrate just how evil and ruthless the Galactic Empire was than when you have a ragtag crew on a very dangerous mission. Now, I don't think the entire crew is gonna die, because I don't think Lucasfilm would go with that dark of a route to things. Plus, I imagine that they want to keep some of them around for other canon material later on down the road, whether they be books or one-shot comic series or whatever. But if we were to see 2 or even 3 of these characters die, maybe the ones that have nothing left to lose and they're kind of just willing to give every little bit of what they have left to fight against the Empire that took so much from them, I think that could be really intriguing. And I think we could have potentially seen a little bit of foreshadowing to that already with the line in the trailer of Jyn Erso asking, "Are you with me?" To which the response is, "All the way." Anyway, that is just a couple things I wanted to talk about, of things that I would like to see within the ending of Rogue One, both to give Rogue One a bit of a more unique and maybe kind of dark tone to it all, but like I said earlier, the potential of giving a little bit deeper meaning to some of the instances of what's going on in A New Hope. I think it's, again, a very rare opportunity to potentially do that, and it, if done right, could be really, really cool. But if you have any thoughts of things you would like to see in Rogue One, I would be really intrigued to hear about those, because I mean, there's so much potential going on with what they can do with this story and sort of blazing the trail for the entire anthology series. So let me know what thoughts you have there. If you enjoyed this video, please click that like button. I always appreciate that. Obviously, like I keep saying, the closer we get to Rogue One, the more Star Wars videos there's going to be again. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss those. But above all else, everybody, thanks so much for watching.